good. We can start.
He's early.
You guys can get to that.
Mark, I feel like I need to change to a green shirt to balance out. Yeah.
I was explaining to Mark that I was halfway to work and I was like, oh, I could fall in a dark shirt. But my little work happened.
All right, it's 7 o'clock in Gardner, Kansas. We'll call the meeting to order. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome. All right. We're going to start tonight with a presentation related to solicitation. Please come forward. Welcome, Captain.
Good evening, Council. Chief Waldeck asked me to come back and talk with you about the solicitation ordinance. My understanding last council meeting, there was a lot of concern about our current ordinance. We visited this, I don't know, a year or so ago before, and I had done the research there, so now's an opportunity for us to fine tune what we came with then. Prior to the change in our ordinance, if someone wanted to solicit in the city of Gardner, they had to come to the police station, fill out an application for solicitation, which includes their information, their supervisor information, business information, as well as what they would be selling. We had two different permits, a day permit and a year permit. Once we did our version of a background check, which is limited like we discussed before, based on what we can do, per the FBI's rules, we would issue those permits. They were bright in color and they were required to show them at any request by citizen, police, or anyone else. That allowed us to hold the individual solicitor and the companies more accountable because we already had the information up front. When somebody comes to the home and they're violating the ordinance, we had the contact information for that person, their company, their boss, and we were able to do some more follow-up on the back end, less court-related, but more accountability for us. We did some research with dispatch to look at calls for service, solicitors related. Since January 1st of this year, we've only had 11 calls for service. 5 of them, officers had no contact. Generally, when we get dispatched to these calls, we are behind the 8 ball, so we're trying to find the person, which makes it more difficult on our officers. 4 of them were handled by officer, which could have included no contact. Those are harder to figure out. 1 warning citation was issued, and then in July of this year, our officer actually made contact with a pest control company that was out of Olathe that was out past 7 p.m. She actually was able to write a report and contacted 2 individuals, which it's our understanding after that no complaints from that company specifically. Our current ordinance doesn't allow for the accountability necessarily because it makes it harder on our side. It gives the burden more to the citizen to give more information to us so we can find the person, and we don't have the log to go back and look at and follow up on our end. The recommendation from us, and it sounds like from the city, would be to institute some kind of a permit process again that would, again, give us that list of the solicitor, the company, the boss, and actually the business. Our permits before also, when you filled out the application, you had to read the rules. The rules were listed on there, which included when you could solicit, the signage, what you had to watch for. Our ordinance says no soliciting or similar language. Our current ordinance still includes that, but it's harder for us to hold people accountable because it's harder for us to track them down in the long run. So to use our current ordinance, add a level of accountability by requiring a permit again, and even consider either publishing a printable version of a sign that's standard across the board, not required, but just something that we would put out there. City of Spring Hill publishes it on their website, but also makes it available at their city hall. City of Olathe is similar, and it's just a logo, no soliciting, and the ordinance number listed below. Again, not required, because anything similar is acceptable, but it would give our citizens something to use if they weren't sure exactly what they needed to fall under. There is discussion of using a badge process. I apologize, I'm not completely up to speed on exactly what that would entail, but it would be similar to a permit process. We would have to gather the information on the front end, which would help us hold the solicitors accountable on the back end. It's important for us at the police department that our citizens don't carry that burden. They deserve the privacy when it's necessary, and they also should be able to count on us to help them when it's needed. So, do you guys have any questions?
Sure, we probably do. Steve?
A couple quick
Sure.
First one, these ordinances are written to try to deter the violations of that ordinance. Is that, change proposed or try to deter that? The problem is, people that obey the law will register, and those that don't won't. And I think everybody in this room can relate to this one. Back in 1988, there was a law instituted across the United States called Do Not Call. $10,000 fine for each occurrence. The only people who obeyed that law were people that obeyed it. And now today, how many calls do we get a day of scam stuff that goes back to the phone number, no accountability, no way to track it out, no way to follow it. The violators of this is going to do the same thing, I believe. And if I remember right from last time, if you have a no solicitation sign posted, with the crotcher off your setback easement, if they cross that, it's trespassing. Is that correct?
It would not be trespassing, but it would be a violation of our solicitor's ordinance. So there is an accountability, but it's not the criminal statute of trespassing.
Would a placard says no solicitation or trespassing? I remember, does anybody else remember that yes, sir?
Did anybody else remember that we had got to the point to where that seemed like it was it could be considered trespassing if they got off the driveway?
I don't remember that, no.
I would only think it would turn into trespassing if you asked them to leave and they opted not to.
I would agree with that.
Okay. Well, what I'm trying to kind of suggest is this. I see this as the same way we saw it a year ago, as it's another thing that makes it more difficult of people that respect the law, don't knock doors that are marked no solicitation, and it doesn't really seem to do much to deter the guys that ignore it anyway, because just like do not call, the thousands of calls we all get they don't care about the violations.
I would say the best information we have is that we had a very similar ordinance to this prior to the recent change. I don't have numbers to show exactly, but it was effective. We didn't get as many calls. We certainly didn't get as many complaints on the back end that the citizens weren't able to, they didn't feel like things were being done. And that, I don't know how long that process was in effect. It was at least 8 years up to that point that I worked here, and it seemed effective at the time. It also gave the citizens, hey, do you have your permit? What permit?
Does
Buy it.
the police department have facial recognition software?
No.
I was just curious because I thought maybe if you snap a picture, you can find out who the heck it was. Say, this is the guy that was at my door. Date and time stamp. That,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut
I
you
mean,
off.
that would be one way of many. It may or may not be legal. It may or may not be the right thing to do. But it sure seems to me that adding another layer of burden when someone's trying to legitimately process a bit or promote a business and they're respecting that, but they knock a door that's not posted no solicitation, and they get fined because they didn't know that there was a registration process. I'm done.
Steve Shute?
Yeah, a couple of things. First of all, I would be in favor of the badging because with a photo badge, it's pretty darn clear that that individual has gone through the permitting process. They wouldn't have a badge without a permit. I suppose you could counterfeit it, but that's going through a lot of
That's
trouble.
going through a lot, yeah.
And that's going through a lot of trouble for that particular solicitor to do that. So if you have a badging system, you don't necessarily even have to go through the major background check. All it shows is, okay, there's an awareness in the city that this individual is doing business within the community, okay? And that is all the citizens are looking for. If they have a badge, that is 9/10 of the concern alleviated. What they aren't looking for, what they don't like, is people just randomly coming up with a note with a clipboard, and going in, looking in people's windows and stuff like that. That is not something they're looking for. They're looking for somebody who is going to, one, respect the no trespassing or no solicitation signs, and two, is vetted by this. When I see vetted, I mean they've registered with the city. They know that the city is aware of their presence. Those are the two. If you can do those two things, I think that's going to fix the problem. All right. It's not a major. I mean, we do photo badges or photo IDs all the time for, Parks and Rec activities. I mean, it's not something that that's difficult to do.
Steve, I would agree with you. If we have that, they can be held accountable.
Absolutely. That's all I'm looking for.
That's all I'm looking for too, is
Yeah.
not to make life more difficult for anybody, but to give the citizen an actual sense of security that they know who's at the door. If they knock a door that's marked no solicitation, they got a name and a company.
And not just that, but that they know that the city knows that those individuals are doing business.
I agree with you.
Okay, so.
Councilman McNear, to your point, I think that legitimate people would appreciate that actually, because
Absolutely.
they can say,
Absolutely.
hey, look, I am legitimate. I think people will be more likely to talk to them.
The people that follow the law are going to benefit from that substantially.
My concern with badging, though, is if the badge has a Gardner logo, that the city of Gardner gave it out, does that increase the confusion that they're working with the city, or the city has given the company a stamp of approval, like I am a legitimate pest control company because the city of Gardner works with me, I'm wearing a Gardner logo, and I don't want to give our citizens a false sense of security that, because I've seen those Facebook comments, when we had permits, I knew it was a legitimate company.
Yeah.
The city can't tell you if the pest control works or if the contracts
No,
are.
no.
But
I
those are
don't-
the comments that we're seeing on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I'm concerned with the badging that it would begin to look like they work for the city, and that could be really confusing and could get costly too.
Well, it would say solicitor permit on it. It wouldn't say, an acknowledgement does not equal endorsement.
Okay.
So,
I understand. I'm just going off of
yeah,
comments from
no,
citizens.
I've heard those too. I've seen
And
those
then,
too, yeah.
How would the public be able to determine whether or not if we had a permit, if the person had a permit, that could be interpreted as city sanctioning as well, just as much as a badge?
And that was one of the big points of the discussion when we stopped doing the permits.
Sure.
Because of that false sense of security and the citizens feeling like we were giving our stamp of approval when it was just simply a permit. I'm not opposed going back to permitting. I'm concerned with the badges.
Oh, the badges keep the citizens from, yes.
I'm sorry, I would just add that if we do move back to the permit or the badge, I would be opposed to the police department issuing anything that did not also accompany some type of background check. Because I think that if we issue it, people will assume that we have checked and they're not convicted, or that we've at least done a cursory background check. So if we did that, I would prefer that they came from the city, as the other permit would come from the city.
Our ordinance does list a pretty extensive list of prohibited, history. Those that have this cannot solicit here. So I'd agree with the chief. I think by giving a permit from the city, it's giving a false sense of security if there's not some kind of check going on behind the scenes.
What did the permitting process look like before? Did we give out badges before, or was it just a thing that they carried?
card.
It's like a note card or a
Note
like
card.
business
Like a-
card
So it
essentially.
wasn't something
Like
that they
this.
wore, it was a card that if I said, do you have your permit, they would
You
show
have-
it to me.
Mhm.
No photo on it. No
Yeah.
photo.
Well, and I was also thinking, because I've seen a few of the posts where somebody said, hey, this solicitor said they were working with the city. And I'm concerned that that would add confusion if they were wearing a badge that was from the city. And I'm just thinking.
Casey,
about-
would you be more comfortable with in a badging process that would say right on the bottom of the badge in big letters, not affiliated or endorsed by the city of Gardner? I mean, that would at least,
I think they're gonna use whatever they,
Yeah,
Well, if it's just a solicitor permit, that's all that they need to see.
yeah.
yeah.
They don't need to see City of Gardner.
I was talking about the badge, Steve.
Yeah, I'm talking about the badge too.
I mean, if we're concerned that a badge is going to imply that they're sanctioned or endorsed by the city of Gardner, we can put something to that line, to the effect of not endorsed or not affiliated with or endorsed by the city of Gardner.
And I have no problem, by the way, with a cursory background check. It doesn't have to be like
Yeah.
detailed or anything like that.
Absolutely.
I mean, we've done that for, I mean, I know employee screening is probably gonna be a lot more intensive than that, but what would be the manpower to do a cursory background check?
Again, we did this process for at least 8+ years
Okay,
prior to the
so
change of
it's
this
part
ordinance.
of the
So
original-
it's not a foreign process to us as
Okay.
far as
All right.
the process is. The background check is limited by FBI CJIS rules, but we still have resources that can at least do a public facing type check that would give us.
That's what I was looking for.
I had carried a permit card years ago.
Mhm.
Takes about 10 to 15 minutes, and they're
Yeah.
done.
That's fine. I just wanted to see, we're not adding any undue burden, we're not doing anything that's gonna end up like creating more work for the city other than just the basic front facing stuff.
I think the amount of work it causes is way less than the benefit it would have.
Okay, great, no,
Councilman, Wee,
perfect.
you have anything to add?
Yeah, Captain, you went back and said, since January, we'd had 11 calls. January wasn't, I mean, it's been a year, is that right? Is it August? Do we know when we made the change?
It was October, if I'm not
We
mistaken.
had this discussion January 2nd
Yeah.
of '24, right?
Okay.
Over a year and a half.
It seems like way sooner than that, but I believe you. So I.
I thought it was-
I looked it up last meeting.
Okay, no, I know we talked about it.
Excellent.
I know Steve's
Nope.
here. I just couldn't remember when. But we don't have any, you don't have any data before then kind of commensurate to say, did we see an uptick in calls? Did we see, okay.
I don't.
I mean, because,
I can put that data together and put it in the FMM this week.
Okay.
yeah, as long as it's not, yeah.
And it may be an uptick
Yeah.
with
I mean, it's not.
one or two companies specifically that have created a huge uptick.
Yeah,
As opposed to widespread.
The large companies like the pest control company that we had contact with here recently, I remember we used to have groups of 10 people who would come into our station at one time and they would all complete their applications. So it was the rules are being followed. Those large companies do their Google research and know where they can and can't because they don't want to be shut down. They want their business to be successful in town. So.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well-
I think for me, it's more of a, we're just trying to keep the honest people honest.
Yes.
And an education of the, because I think at the time that we discussed this the last time, it was, not something that I ever thought that I could do as a citizen to, when somebody's at my door to go, hey, do you have a permit? That may be the way I answer the door from here on out, but maybe.
No, I'm your son.
But I will say the other thing that we did talk about was how we carve out the scouts, that type of solicitation to try and figure out how do we, and I don't know how much of that really is going on anymore with Girl Scout cookies and popcorn
Not
and whatever.
much anymore.
I mean, they're mostly at
Well suited.
And
Price Chopper.
I think we did a good job when we did change our ordinance to what it is now of putting those exceptions in there for the religious groups and
Student groups,
student groups,
yeah.
and yeah.
Okay.
President, I know you're kind of on the opposite end of this too.
So, okay, those that aren't gonna follow the rules and fly by night, this doesn't make a difference to them what we do, irrelevant, right? The ones that are gonna go through the permitting process were probably the good ones to begin with, doesn't affect them either. The only thing that this can potentially do is if somebody wants to have contact with that solicitor, they can now double check and have this much more assurance that that person isn't a fly-by-night. They don't know anything else. There's no other guarantees with a permit, badge, whatever. So the only benefit that I really see is that by doing it, if we added a permit back or a badge of some sort, that maybe it would deter a few of your fly-by-nighters from showing up. Maybe. I'm willing to give the maybe. So if we can come up with a permit or a badge that we like going forward, I'm fine with that. I think the vast majority of this will stay the same as it is. Because the same people are going to still do what they did before. And as I said before, the easiest thing to do is not enter your door. So it's worth a shot. It's not going to hurt anything to have it in place, right? But I think the biggest thing will be a campaign by Danica to make this clear that there's not any endorsement, to Casey's point.
Correct.
That the background check is cursory, and just in general, that enforcement is still going to be, if they are still there when the cops show up, just like fireworks, right? It's going to be nearly impossible to enforce it, just like it always has been. So it's mostly still on the resident to handle the situation.
Well, I also think that one of the things that was mentioned was having that standard no soliciting signage, so that, and we could even actually make that part of the permitting process, that if you see this sign, don't approach the door. If you see this sign, or anything that looks like it, don't approach the door. And then give residents the opportunity to obtain those signs, whether it's through an electronic means or whether it's through pickup over at the Justice Center. Okay? I think that we do those approaches, I think you're going to see a lot less of the incidents of intrusion that we're seeing or hearing from folks not only on CFG, but also complaints to the police station.
And we would include on the application the rules. So
Yes.
as you sign the bottom saying, you've
I've
agreed
acknowledged
to,
it. Yep.
it's just another step we put into place to make sure they know the rules.
So there's also a distinction, and Zach, correct me if I'm wrong. If somebody is out soliciting without a permit, the city can be the complainant. If somebody has a permit and goes up and violates a no soliciting sign, the person still has to sign and go to court. And that's one of the biggest issues that you have is people complain, you go out there and they may want them arrested or cited, but then you tell them, well, you're gonna have to come to court. Then they're like, yeah, that's not worth my time or effort.
Well, I mean,
So if we do the permit, it gives us an opportunity to make sure they're aware that no soliciting sign is part of our ordinance.
Yep.
And then hopefully that will reduce the number of people that violate that. But you still, when you approach a house, you're still gonna have to have a signed complaint. Now, if they go without a permit, the city can be the complaint.
Well, I guess one of the other things, I just did a little bit of math here, 11 contacts this year over 8 months is 1.3 contacts per month. Yeah, or 1.4 if you round up. And that's not very, I think that along with this, if we do this, we need to have a pretty good, maybe add to what Mark was saying with Danica, have a good public relations campaign that says it's still up to you, the homeowner or the resident, to report this and to do your best to enforce it at your door.
Yeah, just, obviously you can have short and sweet ones, but I know, I'm usually the long-winded one, but a longer post that explains, yeah, the Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts aren't carved, they're fine, right?
Yep.
Political isn't considered solicitation,
Yep.
right? When we're going door to door, that's not, your no solicitation sign doesn't matter in that case, right? Those type of things.
Well, you can, I'm just saying.
Speak for
when they
yourself,
go
Mark.
behind
It's
door, I'm
probably-
like,
We got 3 people here who are on there getting ready. Yeah.
Okay, so do you have good direction then?
Yes.
To move forward from council?
Yep.
I have a couple things. When we bring this back, can we look at cost for providing no solicitor signs that people actually pick up? Or just an electronic option that they can print off, the cost difference on that, and the cost difference on badges that I don't know what a badge system looks like, but we're gonna have to, a clip in a plastic carrier or whatever, and note cards. Just kind of the costs on some of that stuff. as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep, that's fine.
All right.
All right,
Thank you.
All right, good discussion. So no public hearings. We'll move to public comments, and members of the public are welcome to use this time to make comments about city matters or items on the agenda that are not part of a public hearing. If you wish to come forward, please limit your comments to 5 minutes or less. There's a 5-minute time clock on your left over there. Come forward, state your name and address for the record, and the podium is now open. Boy Scout in the back. You're welcome to come forward. No? Any public comments? Okay, we're gonna move then to consent agenda. Is there an item on the consent agenda council would like to remove? Is there a motion to approve consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Motion Shoot, second McNear. We approve consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Abstained? Consent agenda passes. No planning and zoning consent. We do have a committee recommendation. Number 1, consider an ordinance approving a rezoning from RP3 planned garden apartment and RP5 planned apartment house to RP3 planned garden apartment with the associated preliminary development plan for Villas on Grand, first plat, generally located at East Grand Street and White Drive. Ms. Brewster.
Thank you. Oh. I guess I forgot to send my presentation, sorry. You've got the packet in terms of the drawings, so hopefully this will make sense. The application tonight is for the Grand Street development, and it was approved originally in 2023. They're coming back because they want to amend their preliminary development plan, and it's a portion that was originally intended for a 3-story, 90-unit assisted living facility. And instead of building that 3-story facility, they want to develop 40 units within a total of 10 buildings. So before you this evening is that preliminary development plan. The Planning Commission did have a public hearing at their meeting. We had one individual that came to speak. She had some questions about what she would be looking at from her property and the timing of the development. So there was very minimal discussion at the meeting. The other piece of the proposed revision relates to the amenity area. Currently, the plan shows it being on 178th Place, and they are proposing to move it onto White Drive, pushing it basically a little bit farther into the development. Same amenities are proposed, so they're not making any changes to what they're providing, just where it would be located. And with that, we are requesting, both the Planning Commission and staff, we're recommending that you approve the rezoning and associated preliminary development plan with the 3 conditions that were in the ordinance. I would note that the 3rd condition was added at the Planning Commission meeting based on approval of the preliminary plat resting with the Planning Commission, but being contingent on the governing body approving the revised preliminary development plan. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
All right, thank you. We'll open the floor to public comment on this item. Okay. Council, I know we've discussed this at last meeting. Do you have further questions, concerns?
Nope, this is in line with what we discussed last time, so.
Is there a motion then for this?
So moved.
Second.
Motion Shoot, second McNear. We move to adopt the recommendations of the Planning Commission approving ordinance number 2846 An ordinance changing the zoning classification of certain land located in the city of Gardner, Kansas, improving the associated preliminary development plan for Villas on Grand First Plat under the authority granted by Title 17 of the Municipal Code of the city of Gardner, Kansas.
Councilmember Shute.
Yes.
Councilmember McNair.
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin.
Yes.
Councilmember Dean.
Yes.
Councilmember Ween.
Yes.
Mayor Winters.
Yes. The ordinance 2846 passes. Thank you. All right, no old business. We have new business tonight.
Mayor, I'm gonna pull new business item number 2,
Okay,
so we can consider some of the feedback we've received.
okay.
So,
We'll pull item number 2. We will start new business item number 1. Consider adopting a resolution of the City of Gardner, Kansas, approving the execution and delivery of an amended and restated development agreement for an existing development project within the city, Grant Street Reinvestment Housing Incentive District. Mr. Wolf.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. On August 21st, 2023, the City Council passed ordinance number 2777, establishing the Grand Street Reinvestment Housing Incentive District, approving the execution and delivery of a development agreement for Grand Street, and also approving the development of housing in the district. On July 21st, 2025, City Council held a public hearing in connection with the adoption of an amended and restated development plan for a reinvestment district in the City of Gardner, Kansas. After conducting the public hearing, Council approved ordinance number 2845, an ordinance adopting an amended and restated reinvestment housing incentive district development plan. The next step in this process is to amend and restate the development agreement between the developer and the city. The proposed changes to the development agreement have no impact on the RHID cap or term. Bond Counsel is also here tonight to help answer any questions. It is staff's recommendation that you adopt the proposed resolution.
Thank you, Matt. Have there be any public comment for this new business item number 1? And council?
We didn't see any like major changes in the numbers at all from the analysis to what we're expecting. I know the cap didn't change or anything like that, but
There was some change, but it was more due to the timing, because the project was originally, I think, 2023. But it's still a feasible project.
No further comment. Is there a motion on this item? So moved.
second.
Motion Baldwin, second Ween. Wow.
All right,
We adopt resolution 2178, resolution of the City of Gardner, Kansas, approving the execution and delivery of an amended and restated development agreement for an existing development project within the city, Grand Street Reinvestment Housing Incentive District.
Councilmember McNair.
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin.
Yes.
Councilmember Dean.
Yes.
Councilmember Ween.
Yes.
Councilmember Shute.
Yes.
Resolution 2178 passes. So we'll move to new business item number 3. Consider awarding a construction contract for the Cedar Niles Lift Station Project, number WW8013A.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We're here to discuss the consideration of awarding a construction contract for the Cedar Niles Lift Station Project, WW8013A, which is the gravity interceptor portion of the project. We had this project bid out in June, and we got bids back July 23rd of this year, and we received 6 bids from all very good contractors, very well-known contractors in the area. Our design engineer, GBA, and city staff reviewed the bids and determined that the low bidder was qualified to construct this project. Therefore, we are here before you to suggest a motion to accept the low bid for the Cedar Niles Lift Station Project, WW8013A, as received on July 26th, and authorize the city administrator to execute a contract for the amount of $3,100,000 $84,695. Any questions?
Thank you. We will open this up again to public comment. If you have a comment about this item? No? Council?
I just wanted to say thank you for, it looks like this is an excellent bid. I mean, it saves a bunch of, it's substantially lower than everybody else, and if they're a qualified contractor, I think this is a huge win.
Yeah, I was gonna actually ask about the bid structure, because I'm looking at the summary here. Is this including the standard, 15% contingency on these projects, or is this the base bid and then?
So the total base bid was for the all the gravity, and then the actual additive alternate was for a portion of the parallel relief force main.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
we broke the project up into 3 sections: the gravity, the lift station, and then the force main, hoping that it would get more competition in the bidding process, which it obviously
Oh, it
did.
did, yeah.
And then you'll also see that the lift station came back very well as well last week. So
Great.
we'll be moving forward with that portion as well. So in the construction portion of the gravity line where there's part of the force main, we added that into it.
Okay.
And then part of the lift station will have part of that added secondary force main as well, just to get it to 191st Street. And then we can decide when we get the gravity line back if we wanted to do the dual force mains all the way to the south lift station based on what that bid comes back at.
Well, to be honest.
But then at least we're to the street, so then if we need to in the future, if that's the route, we can connect on and go from there as well.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I think that having that secondary, that parallel force main makes some sense, but the question really more is around, okay, are we sure that we're not gonna get any kind of work orders on this, for over budget items?
We shouldn't. Geotech report was included in the bid package.
Okay.
There is a geotech mooring at every single one of the manhole locations. So those are the biggest, in most contractors' eyes, that's the biggest question is what kind of material they're gonna be digging through.
Yep.
And they were all very well aware of what that material is.
Okay, all right, as long, we've done soil testing and samples.
Mhm.
Okay, great, thank you, that's all I had.
Very good to see. Any other council comment? Okay, we can take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion Shoot, second McNear. We accept the low bid for the Cedar Knolls Lift Station project number WW8013A as received on July 26, 2025, and authorize the city administrator to execute a contract for the amount of $3,184,695 to Redford Construction, Inc. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Abstain? New business item number 3 passes. And last new business item number 4, local emergency operation plan, LEOP resolution. Captain, you're up again.
Oh. About a year and a half ago, I began writing this local emergency operations plan. It works with the National Incident Management System to provide the guidance, the definition of roles, and the integration into the county's emergency operations plan once the resources needed for an event exceed what we can provide. We worked with Johnson County Fire District 1 as well as Johnson County Emergency Management to make sure the plan included those things that would affect us the most at the local level. So the plan does provide, like I said, the roles and the guidance for those in our government as well as you as our elected officials, but then also helps provide that integration when our resources are exceeded and we need to work with Johnson County Emergency Management for the larger scale.
That's good to see. I mean, that's, when you need it, right? So that's good to have. Excellent. Is there any public comment on this item number 4? Council, do you have questions, comments?
Well, Rick?
Yeah.
I love the fact that we have a single point of contact for liaison between ourselves and the county agencies, because that's been a, it's been a challenge. So, and I'm glad to see that Chief has the option to designate or designated an individual who would serve as that liaison. So, good work. Appreciate that.
Okay, if there's no other questions, I'll entertain a motion for resolution number 2177.
So moved.
Second.
Motion McNair, second Baldwin, we adopt resolution 2177, a resolution of the city of Gardner, Kansas regarding the governing body's intent to implement a local emergency operations plan for the city of Gardner, Kansas.
Councilmember Baldwin.
Yes.
Councilmember Dean.
Yes.
Councilmember Wee.
Yes.
Councilmember Shute.
Yes.
Councilmember McNair.
Yes.
Resolution 2177 passes. That concludes new business. We're going to move to council updates, and I did want to add, we are going to add a relatively short executive session to the end of the meeting. When we get to that point, we will make a motion on that. But let's go ahead with council updates first. Chief?
I lost my train of thought.
Sorry, I threw you with that one, didn't I?
That's okay. Today, we, our new administrative assistant for the administrative office at the police department started. She replaces Kathy Wilmoth, who retired in May. Also, as a follow-up to the complaint we had about mosquitoes at the last meeting, we have code enforcement has sent out 4 notices, and they have 14 days, and then we will be following up on that, and I will update you in FMM about that action. I think that's all I have.
Along those lines, I did have a follow-up question. For code enforcement, I'd reached out for some citizen complaints about the development, is it just east of like Cherry or 180, south of 183rd, in that area there, that field where they're looking to develop, but they've kind of stalled. I mean, but all the construction stuff is still there. And we reached out. I know we were looking at that or sent out notices, but he contacted me again today and said nothing's been touched. So I was just kind of looking see where we are on that.
I'll get updated and let you know.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Okay, Renee?
I do not have anything.
Okay. Matt, finance?
Nothing tonight.
Amy?
Nothing tonight.
City attorney?
Nothing for me.
I was about to say Gons, but I can't. Jason?
Nothing for me tonight.
Dave?
Nothing for me.
Kelly?
Nothing for me.
Clean sweep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
I got nothing.
Nothing.
We near? Yeah. Councilman Wayne?
Nothing for me tonight.
Vice President?
I feel like I should make something up, but no.
I only have 6 things.
Okay, perfect.
We're good.
All right. Well, I guess that's that. Like I said, we do have an executive session to discuss personnel matters related to non-elected personnel. So would anyone like to make a motion? Ish.
I move that the city council recesses into executive session to discuss personnel matters related to non-elected personnel pursuant to KSA 75-4319, Section B, Section 1, beginning at 7:43 and returning to regular session at 15, 20? 8:03.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded.
Who was the second? That Shute?
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry, moved by Ball and seconded. Shoot.
Thank you.
Do executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Abstain? We're adjourned.
I've only got like 14.
said, don't let the door hit you on the way out.
All right.
Now, what do we want to
Is it
assign
8:03?
to?
Really want to talk about
Is it 8:03?
It's 8:03.
It's fine.
8:03.
Yeah,
All right.
right.
Do I have a motion to
So moved.
Second.
Resume. regular.
resume? That's the word I'm looking for. Got a motion to
Resume regular
resume. First,
session.
we have a motion from
Deaton.
Second.
Second from Shoot.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Abstain? We're back in session. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
moved.
Second.
Motion Deaton, second Shoot. We adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?